Hey guys, so for today's fifth grade worksheet, we are going to be starting off with multiplying decimals. Today we are going to be learning how to multiply by those bigger numbers, but it's only going to be with the ones, so like 10, 100, and etc. So this is very simple. The main thing you only need to do really is, since this is 1, we can just ignore it because anything times 1 is that number itself. And the only thing we really have to do is look at how many zeros there are. So in number 3, we see that there are 3 zeros. And we know that when multiplying with decimals, you may have to move decimals or not. In this case, you will have to. And how much do you know? Which way do you know? Well, we know that this multiplying by this number, 1,000, you're gonna get a bigger number. So when moving decimals, you have to move it to the right in order to get bigger decimals. It may sound a little confusing. Let me show you. So we see that there are 3 zeros, and those 3 zeros, you're going to move 3 times to the right to make it a bigger number. So 1, 2, 3. Put a 0 here, and your answer is 5,610. Next, converting fractions. We're going to be specifically converting these improper fractions to mixed numbers. And the easiest way, in my opinion, to do these is to break it down by its own places. So what I mean by, since this is the tens and this is the ones, we're going to break it up that way. So this is 50, so 50 over 5. You always have to remember this denominator. And then we're going to plus, because we're basically getting 57. 7 over 5, which is the ones. And this, now we basically divide. So we're dividing 50 and 5, 7 and 5. So 50 and 5 is just 10. However, let's look at 7 over 5 really closely. Obviously, we're not going to get a perfect number. We're going to get a remainder / a smaller fraction. So the easiest way to do this is just asking yourself, how many times does 5 go into 7? The bottom go up to the top 1 time. So you go 7 minus 5, which is 2, and that's what you're left with. So you get 1 from this, and then plus 2 over 5. And you're just going to put it up here. So plus 1 plus 2 over 5. And you just add all these up together. And since these are whole numbers, you get 11 over 2 over 5, since you can't add fractions as a whole number. And that is your answer. Sorry. Next, we're going to be converting measurements / units. So one thing we want to make a note of is that when converting big to small units, then we multiply. When converting small to big units, we divide. And when converting small to big, we normally, or there are many cases where you have to divide multiple times. And so we will look at one of these cases. So let's look at number 3. So we see that it's going feet to yard, and obviously this is going greatest to least, so G to L. And we see that yard is ahead of feet. So, and obviously we don't know what 18 feet is just by looking at this thousands. So we're going to have to figure out what 1 feet is, or 1 yard is. What 1 yard is to feet, to make it easy on us. How do we do that? Well, we just simply divide yard over feet, which is 1,760 over 5,280. And then if you do it by decimals, you get 0.333, or it's going to equal to 1/3. And this 1/3 is in yards, but in feet, we just need to flip it around, so it becomes 3 feet. Okay, so we know that there's 3 feet in 1 yard. So now we're just going to divide 18 by 3, which is 6. So your answer is 6 yards. So this is what I mean by dividing multiple times. If you want to only divide once, you'd straight up have what 1 yard is, what 1 feet is, and just the number 1 in all of these. Lastly, we're going to be rounding. So this is a very easy concept, but once again, when you have less than 5, you don't change whatever you're rounding. You just leave it up. However, when it's greater than 5, there's never ever a change where you go a number down. It's always a number up or increase. So let's get number 2. So 8 is what we're determining whether we are changing it or not. So we have to look at the number on the right, just 1. And we say that that is a 3. And 3 is obviously less than 5, or 5 is greater than 3. So we just leave it on 8, 3, and then the rest becomes 0 because we never acknowledged it at all. But however, we still need these places, so this is your answer. I hope this all made sense, and thank you for listening.